Mentally math!
Let's get mental!
All right. Yes. So why don't you get started? Get out a bit ahead of me while I erase some of the blotches that the Spanish teacher left on the whiteboard. Yes?
For me, do we have to write it in scientific notation?
Yes, it says that.
Okay.
Yeah. And we were doing that anyway. Even if it was just saying exponents, the answer key in the book was doing it in scientific notation anyway, and I thought that was a good idea anyway. There we go, and that should have given you a little time. Yo.
Number C is so sweet.
Oh, I know, right? Totally.
Funny.
Oh, it's almost insulting, really. Okay. Well, sounds like you're well ahead of me then. All right. So, -1/2 and times -1/2. So, two negatives do make a positive, and so that would be 1/4, and then 1 2/10 squared is 1 4400 times, oh my goodness, 10 to the power of 24. That's a very large number.
Wait, 24? That's a lot.
Yes. Yep, 12 plus 12. 12 times 2. Yep. I would definitely prefer not to write that out, so scientific notation is your friend.
Is your pressure imagine how big it will be?
I am imagining. I'm tired just thinking about it. Okay, so, well, this is basically the equivalent of 2/4, which is the equivalent of
1/2.
So C will equal 1. Oh, adorable. I know. Oh, I know. Okay, 100 centimeters is 1 meter, so this would be 1 5/10 of a meter, or 1.5 meters. And then 12.5% is really just what fraction? Not 1/4. That's 25%. Oh, but that's a good way to think of it. Is 25% is 1/4, so 12.5% is
1/8.
Okay.
Oh,
So
so
that-
actually trying to mental math that.
Oh no! It's think 25% is 1/4. 12.5% is half of 25%, making it 1/8. Yeah. And then this is $10 less, so $70. Then changing this to a percent.
There's no estimation to get sad.
Oh well, life can be like that. And of course, with something like this, fraction is a bit more elegant than. Oh, to a decimal. Okay, so yeah, so that would be a good percent. That would be a good decimal. You could say 33 repeating 3%, but the 1/3 just is a much more elegant solution. Okay, 20 plus 5 times, 5 times 2 minus 1 square root times 4 minus 1 divided by 3. Square that number, minus 1 divided by 2 is 40.
That was a very good flow. Like from
Oh,
zero
thank you.
just-
Thank you very much.
I thought it said square.
Yeah. Okay, equations with exponents. So, this is another one of those. These are all things that you know and could probably figure out and guess yourself. in finishing solving these. So it's essentially equations, and then just giving you one more little heads up about what you can do with equations. Okay, I have band-aids over there. That was what you need. Right, so the rule, just I bet you can figure this out yourself. Just one thing to add on to your personal repertoire of knowledge here, and I'm sure you could probably figure it out yourself. But remember, when you're trying to solve an equation for a variable, the rule is that what you do to one side, you have to do to the other side, and if you keep on doing that, doing one thing to one side and the same thing to the other side, it's always going to be equal, right? Yeah. So I mean, if I add plus 1 to this side and plus 1 to this side, then they're still equal because they just each just got plus 1 added to it. Now, this is also true for square roots. If you get the square root of one side and you do the square root of the other side, it works. So that being said, please solve for x. I'll let you figure it out ahead of me.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah, spoilers, you'll get x squared at the end, and you can just get the square root of each side to turn x squared into just x, and whatever it is on the other side, just the square root of that's going to be what x equals. So here, give it a try. Are you finished?
Yes.
Huh? Well, you start out by writing it down, and then start isolating x by doing the same thing to each side. You did only x on one side and only a number on the other side.
So once we finish, do we just
Yeah, that'd be helpful. But that sounds like a heads up that I should hurry up, or well, I and some other people should hurry up.
This is very satisfying.
Oh, right on. Okay. So yeah, so starting out, I can just add 1 to each side. And so then my stage 2 is 3x squared equals 48. Then I can divide each side by 3. And 48 divided by 3 is 16. So we get to x squared equals 16. Now, here's the twist today, kids. Is you can square root each side.
Wouldn't there be 2 square roots for 16?
Huh?
Wouldn't there be 2
Oh, yes. And so, yeah, remember that because they've been telling us that. Yes, so, your possible answers.
Wait, what happened to 1?
I added 1 to each side. I just did up here without copying it down. I would be lazy, I guess. Okay, so, yeah, so that gets us to x could equal 4. X could equal -4. And, now, I'm going to throw these out as answers, and then I'm going to erase it, because it's not part of the Saxon math book, and I don't want to confuse you too much. But someone was pointing out this morning that Khan Academy does their answer like that. Would do their answer like that.
Yeah, plus or minus.
Would be 4. It could be plus or minus 4.
Yeah, plus or minus.
So now that being said, I'm now going to get rid of that because this is what Saxon says, and so this is what I would expect on your test paper, for example. But if you did answer this on your test paper, I would probably give you credit, since you're in good faith trying to answer the.
I think plus or minus would also be correct.
Yeah, it would be. But so I put up on the board. But I'm also going to.
Yeah,
Well,
4 and -4.
Yeah, either one of these is fine. And Khan Academy was using this symbol to say plus or minus, but I'm not gonna leave that up on the board because I don't want to confuse you from what the Saxon book is saying, yes.
Is it Khan Academy or Combat School?
Person said Khan Academy this morning who mentioned this to me. And I said, oh, okay, that's neat.
Okay, cool.
That's not important. Okay. Now, this time, just remember you need to be a little bit discerning of if you get a square root that just really isn't going to, you're going to end up with a string of decimals, you can just leave it as a square root.
Can I,
So, are you done with this? Are you starting this? Okay, well, start by copying it down. Do some steps. Spoilers, your last step is to get the square root of each side. You will not get something that comes out to a nice clean square root, so you'll just leave it as a square root. And then there's a couple ways of phrasing that answer. First thing to do, divide each side by 2. Right? Getting you to x squared equals 5. And then we can get the square root of each side. Alright, so getting us x can equal square root of 5. X can equal the negative of the square root of 5. Now, and I suppose it would also make sense you could do an answer that looked like this, but once again, that's not what Saxon is saying, so for our purposes, we'll say these are your answers. Saxon did want to point out that if you did this, would that be okay? No, you could break the fabric of the universe with that answer because that doesn't make any sense. Because there is no negative square root of -5 that makes any sense whatsoever.
Nothing times nothing could be that.
Yeah, there's nothing that could make sense with. So yeah, remember please to put your negative sign outside the square root symbol, or I will mark it wrong on your upcoming.
suffer the consequences.
Yeah, that would be wrong on a test. Wrongity wrong. Okay. Oh, little mathematical riddle. Please write an equation that expresses 5 less than what number? By the way, don't put W in. Just put like X, or the book says in. So, do not say what number like that for this. Because that will just end up looking, that just looks terrible, right?
Yeah.
So, no, don't do that. Okay. Alright, so just use a different variable. The book uses in for what number?
N?
Yes.
Number.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
You could say X. It's fine.
I put H for some reason.
Call it Fred. It could be Fred. Or Bob.
Alejandro.
Alejandro. That seems like a lot of work
Harry.
to write down. Okay. So 5 less than what number squared is 20? What equation would express that sentence? Oh, you want to? Okay. I was gonna kind of. I was actually gonna kind of do a line by line there. Just check yourself with me. Okay, so 5 less than what number squared is, remember that will mean translates to is 20.
Okay, now it makes sense.
Okay, yeah. Alright, then if that is not what you got for your equation, copy that down and solve for it quickly. I'm going to take one deep breath. Okay, so spoilers. I add 5 to each side, getting me to n squared
This
equals
one was really simple.
25. They're all pretty simple.
Can I just say easy?
No, I wouldn't say easy. Such as figuring out the equation is. I would not describe that as easy.
Okay,
And then
simple.
sure, you could say very simple. Okay, so n could equal 5, -5, and then don't be freaked out if you ever see this. But we're not using it today.
So many fives.
Yeah. But we're not doing that. But if you do see that, you know what it means.
What's the difference between an equation and an expression?
Expressions have an equal sign.
Yeah. And it's basically just words mostly.
Expressions are equations and
Yeah.
equations and
Okay, so this one ends up with a bit of a wonky answer. In this figure, the area of the larger square, so the whole thing would be, I'll just put it up here to keep track of it, 4 square units for the whole thing. Okay, so, which is twice the area of the smaller square. What is the length of each side of the smaller square?
Oh no.
Oh no, it's alright. It'll be okay. Just stop and think about it for a minute, and we'll do step by step. I want everyone to think this out themselves.
It's like this.
So
Okay.
I was absent on one day.
Okay, I'm not talking about that right now. Please talk to me about that when I'm finished with the examples. Okay, so thinking. Okay, so I'm gonna just do some leading questions here. So, if 4 square units is twice the area of the smaller square, well, how about this?
Oh, I think I know.
Well, I'll just. So, what is the area of the smaller square? 2 square units.
But how could that big square be 2 times the size of that small square?
Pythagorean theorem.
The
Oh
Yeah, you can think of it. You can think of it. Look, every one of these corners,
Yeah.
if you added all 4 of these corners together, would make up like another square the size of this. Yeah. Okay. So now let's think here. So if we were trying to figure out the side of the larger square, right? Then now the side. What would I need to do to this to make it make sense to where it would make it so that the side was equal? Like, this is not true. What do I need to do to this to make it true that the each side is equal to blah blah blah? What do I need to change here? What do I need to do? I need to do what to this? I need to... Is this going to be the Teo show?
Wait.
Oh, yeah. I need to do the square root of this. Okay, and then the square root of 4 being 2, and the square root of square units being u. So for my larger square, each side is 2 units. So if that's true, then I should do the same thing to that, right? But if I do that, well, I can do this for my units. I said I could do it. I said, okay. Alright, wait, sorry, 11 here. Alright, yeah. Okay, there. Okay, so I can do that, but can I get the square root of 2?
No.
Because 2 is a what? Well, the square root of 2 is a what?
It's a
Irrational number! So the farthest we can get with this equation is each side is the value of each side, and I'll get rid of the u in order to not be as confusing. Each side is the square root of 2. Yes.
If you really wanted to write a number, you could just say like 1.4 and then dot because 1.4 squared is 1.96.
Well, you could absolutely estimate it. So you could
1.4.
you could do a couple of wavy lines, absolutely, and say 1.4 units. Sure, absolutely, no problem. Yep. Okay, we good? You want to give me a 1, 2, or a 3 here? Okay, I'll take 2.5. All right. 5. Excellent. Okay. I think people are doing all right here. We're out of time. This one's fun. So remember, we solved these using cross multiplicative goodness. Let's see what that looks like. It's actually really simple. I'm gonna do one deep breath and let you figure this out ahead of me. And then we will watch as much of the geography video presentation as we can before the assembly starts.
Oh, wait, we're not going to do any math.
We'll see what kind of time we have, but I don't. But we have an assembly, and we might do that. But we have an assembly, and I want for you to get the full geography lesson. Okay, so on deep breath. Okay, cross multiplicative goodness. X times x is x squared. 3 times 12 is 36. Square root of each one gets me 2. X equals 6, or... And then you might see that someday. But that's not really part of the lesson. Okay, great.